Welcome, everyone. I am absolutely thrilled you're here for this explainer where we're going to unpack something that literally affects every single one of us every single day. We're talking about decoding the actual neurological mechanics of our screens to understand the whole shebang of what we call the dopamine loop. If you've ever wondered why your smartphone has like a literal tractor beam on your attention, well, you are in exactly the right place. We're going to break down the science behind the screen and really explore the fascinating research into our neural pathways. Okay, let's dive into this. It really all boils down to one question we've all asked ourselves at some point. Why can't we ignore the ping, right? I mean, picture this everyday scenario. You're deeply focused on a task, or maybe you're just enjoying a nice quiet moment on the couch, and then you hear it. That tiny, high-pitched notification sound from across the room. Instantly, your train of thought completely derails, and you feel this incredibly powerful, almost irresistible urge to grab your device. It's a totally universal experience. But why? Why does that simple little sound command so much authority over our attention? Why is it just so incredibly hard to let it go and get on with our day? To answer that, we really have to look at something called digital habituation. We casually call checking our phones a bad habit, right? But actually, scratch that. It's way more profound than just a simple lack of willpower. It is a deeply structural neurological process. Through repetitive cycles of technology use, these behaviors become incredibly ingrained habits. So every single time we interact with our devices in these patterns, we're actively, literally building and reinforcing a complex neural architecture right inside our brains. Our everyday phone use is actively wiring our minds. Crazy, right? So this wiring happens through a highly predictable three-step process that we call the habit loop. Step 1 is the cue. That's the ping of the phone. Step 2 is the routine, the physical action where we actually pick up and check the phone. And step 3 is the reward, that little dopamine hit we get when we see what the notification was all about. These three specific stages map absolutely perfectly onto our smartphone usage. It's a remarkably predictable cycle, honestly. And understanding these three distinct parts is the absolute key to making sense of digital addiction. Let's break down each of these micro moments. It all starts right here with the cue, an external auditory trigger. Let's zoom in on that very first micro moment, the notification alert itself. Before you even consciously process what you're doing, that tiny little sound has already completely hijacked your brain's attention and initiated the habit sequence. It's basically the spark that lights the fuse. It is the absolutely essential starting point for the entire cycle. Now, once that trigger fires, you automatically fall right into the routine. It is an immediate physical action. There's no debate, there's no weighing the pros and cons in your head. The sound happens and boom, your hand just reaches out to check the device for updates. The auditory cue directly drives this physical response. It's the behavioral execution of the habit loop, cementing that hardwired connection between hearing the sound and immediately taking action. But listen, the physical action is really just the vehicle. The actual destination is the chemical payoff, the reward phase. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is that when you check that notification, your brain actually releases a surge of dopamine. And dopamine's role here is absolutely crucial. It acts to reinforce that specific behavior. Your brain chemically rewards you for checking that message, effectively telling your neural pathways, hey, whatever you just did to get this awesome feeling, make sure you do it again next time. I like to think of this feeling as a chemical high five of dopamine. When you check your phone and see a message, a like, or an update, you're experiencing social connection, right? And your brain is giving you an enthusiastic chemical high five to celebrate that connection. It's an incredibly powerful positive reinforcement. And because of this high five, your brain vividly remembers the pattern. The cue, the routine, and that incredibly satisfying chemical reward are now completely, inextricably linked, making your brain want to execute this exact sequence over and over again. So when we synthesize all these mechanics, you really start to see the architecture of a deep habit forming. An auditory trigger initiates the cycle, which prompts an immediate physical action, which then results in a highly satisfying chemical reward. It's those repetitive back-to-back cycles that dig that neural pathway deeper and deeper. Every single time you hear the ping, check the phone, and get that high five of dopamine, the habit just becomes that much harder to break. It's like a groove on a record that just keeps getting deeper with every spin. So the crucial point is this. We are literally being conditioned to seek consistent social validation through digital interactions. This right here is the profound psychological why behind the loop. It's not just some weird fascination with a glowing piece of glass and metal. It's actually about our deep-seated human need for social connection and validation. The digital habituation process works so flawlessly because the technology has literally hijacked our natural desire to feel connected to others, and it delivers that validation in highly concentrated, easily accessible, repetitive chemical bursts. Which brings us to a final, really provocative thought to leave you with today. Based on the neurological mechanics we've just decoded, I want you to genuinely ask yourself, are you checking your phone or is your phone checking you? Honestly, knowing how these powerful neurological loops are engineered to capture your attention and drive your habits completely shifts how we view our everyday digital interactions. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. I really hope this gives you a completely new perspective on that device sitting right next to you.